Start recording. Close that. Full screen that. Move that out of the way. All right. Well, what is up, guys? We are back here with Week 3 picks, and I am again joined by Raging Titan. Obviously, we got game tomorrow night. I didn't even think of doing anything Week 1, and then college just kind of took up the week last week too, so I didn't have Thursday night game last week, but we found time. It's Wednesday as we're recording this. This will probably go up Thursday morning, I hope. But we're gonna do all the picks, and we're gonna start out with the Tennessee and Jags game, and we both picked the Jags. And why don't you start us out with why you picked the Jags?
Well, I think because Gardner Minshew, he had a pretty close game last week, and I think he'll finally get his win this week.
Yeah, if they didn't play conservative and if he would have thrown the ball last week, I think they would have beat the Texans. He's really the only reason why I'm going for Jacksonville too, is because I feel like Gardner Minshew can just be that fill-in spot until Nick Foles gets back. I forget how long he's out. I don't even remember. But he'll be back. Yeah, probably. But he'll be back in a couple of weeks. But Gardner can fill in, probably keep their playoff hopes alive by winning them a couple games. But yeah, not really a lot to say there. I just think that Titans, obviously, they got beat by Indy, and Indy without Andrew Luck and Jacoby Brissett, who was the backup last year, obviously it was only 2 points, but a win's a win. So I think Tennessee will fall to the Jags again because the Jags almost beat Houston, and Houston is a pretty good team too. They just have a couple things to sharpen up, and they're on their way to the playoffs. So. All right, next game, Sunday, the noon games. Cincinnati at the Bills. Obviously, we both have the Bills here because Cincinnati proved last week that they're
bad.
They're bad, just flat out bad. Bills.
I thought even because the Bengals are so close to the Seattle Week 1. You kind of thought they were going to be more closer to the 49ers, but...
And then Seattle started slipping, and Seattle almost lost to Pittsburgh with Mason Rudolph. And we'll get into that more later on, but you have a team that almost loses to two of, the worst teams, and, Seattle barely won them. So, but I don't think... Cincinnati can beat the Bills. I think the Bills are on a roll right now. Are they 1-1? Are they 2-0?
They won last week, didn't they?
Yeah, they won last week. I don't remember if they won Week 1 though. I can't remember if they're 1.
Yeah, they beat the Jets Week 1.
Yeah, so they're 2-0 right now too. So I feel like it'll be 3-0.
That's surprising.
Yeah, I know. Watch them be a playoff contender again. Like 3 years ago or whatever that was.
When they faced the Jags.
Yeah, and that's when the Jags were good. That was a fluke year, it looks like. Unless Foles can, pull out that playoff magic again. So who knows? Let's just hop right into Detroit and Philly. Obviously, I think Philly. They almost beat Atlanta, and they had a couple bad throws. Was it Aguilar? He dropped it right in the middle of his hands or something. I think that was
barely watched that game.
I just remember Julio just going 54 yards, and that guy got pancaked. But yeah, we both have Philly here, beating up the Detroit. I don't think it's going to be a close game. I think Detroit got lucky because they versed Cardinals week 1 and
Chargers last week.
Chargers last week, who they're I don't know if they're not gonna do as good as they did last year or what, but I just think Detroit is just not gonna be able to win. I think that last week was a fluke. And then next game probably a blowout again for Jets and Patriots. Obviously we both picked the Jets. 100-0. But no, we're gonna go Patriots. I'm gonna say Antonio Brown's gonna get 2 touchdowns next week or this Sunday.
I'm gonna say he's gonna break 100 yards.
Probably. He had 4 receptions for 78 last week or something.
50 something.
50 something.
Like 50 yards.
And that Jets defense isn't that good, so I think everyone's gonna have over 100 yards. Even Tom Brady's gonna get over 100 rushing yards.
Then
he
it's
can't
a bad
catch.
game.
He can't catch, but he can outrun the Jets defense.
Well, I think his average rushing yards, out of his whole career is 1 yard or something.
Do you remember? I think this was 2 years ago. At the end of a game, he didn't want to go negative yards, so when he took the kneel, he pushed the pile forward so he would gain a yard. Do you remember that?
Really?
This is a year or 2 ago. It was I forget who it was against, but he did the kneel and he went forward and he told the ref, he's like, yeah, we went forward a yard, because he didn't want to kneel and go negative rushing yards.
That's so weird.
I know. We're getting off topic again. Atlanta and Indianapolis. This is a game where we disagree on. You want to say why you picked Atlanta?
Well, just like you said, Julio freaking had an amazing 50-yard touchdown, and I think Atlanta's starting to get the hint that they're good, they have talent, they need to start utilizing it, and I think they'll beat Indy.
I think Jacoby Brissett's going to have another 150 passing yard game. I think he's going to go off, and I think the defense is going to be able to hold Matt Ryan and Julio in catches, so he's going to have to start throwing those other receivers. So I think Indy has a pretty good shot here, especially if that Colts offense keeps rolling the way they do. Even without Andrew Luck, I think they can go to the playoffs. So I think it'll be a close game either way, but I think personally Indy's gonna pull out the win here. But we'll see. We obviously we can't see the future, so. All right, next game, Oakland and Vikings. Both teams obviously coming off a loss last week after winning week 1. But I don't think, and obviously, I was wrong last week. I thought, well, I think we both picked
Should have went with Kansas City.
Yeah, I never doubt Patrick Mahomes. Learned that quick. But I think, I thought, they had a chance. I thought they would pull something out and upset Kansas City last week. But, they did good that first quarter. And then
everything went to hell.
Patrick
4
Mahomes
touchdowns
decided,
in the second quarter.
Let's break the second quarter record and throw for 4 touchdowns and 250 plus yards. So I think Vikings are just gonna crush. But I think it'll be a lot closer than just a 70-0 game or a 40-0 game. I think Oakland will put up a fight, and I think, Cook obviously has to go off and have a good day in order for the Vikings to win. So if Oakland can contain Cook, they might be able to win. Because we all know how Cousins throws.
Not very much.
Not very well. It's not. I mean, he had, should have been 5 picks last week against the Packers. But, But, yeah, we're going to both go Vikings. And then, next, we have our game of the week here, which, I mean, looking over the games this week, there's not too many games that could be competitive or too many games that won't be trash. But I think it'll fun to be watched. It'll be the most fun to watch oh my God. Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes duel it out, especially because Jackson has put up so many. What is it like? Has he thrown? Not 100. Isn't he closing in like 100 points already? Because he had 59, or not 59. He had like 40 against the Dolphins, and then he put up like 30, 40 against. Oh God, I don't even remember who it was last week. Cardinals. Oh no, wait, never mind. Never mind. It'll be probably like 70.
No, Cardinals was like 27 something.
Yeah.
Like 27, 24.
Yeah, but I think that it's going to be a fun game. Obviously, neither defense is probably going to be able to stop the offense.
No, it's going to be all offense, high scoring.
Yeah, it'll probably be like LA and Chiefs last year, where it's like 49 to 50 something or whatever. And because Jared Goff had that game-winning drive at the end.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be another 40 to 50 point game. I mean, Patrick Mahomes might just come in and go, we're going to just, break first quarter record, break the third quarter record. Oh, you know what? I want to break my second quarter record right now. Let's go for 35 points and 300 yards. So I think it's just going to be really high scoring. And this is going to be my game of the week because there's not many two other good games going on this week, in my opinion. I mean, the rest of them are either just going to be shutouts or just crappy games with both teams, or on both sides. So, yeah. You got any thoughts?
I was going to say, I mean, I would have picked Baltimore, but, I mean, you can't guard Mahomes. I mean, he's going to put up record numbers again.
He was injured with his ankle last week, too. I mean, look what he did on an injured ankle last week. So, I mean, a healthy Mahomes is scary.
And he can scramble.
He can scramble. I mean, he'll beat you deep. He'll run it. I mean, he'll just, shovel past it with his left hand. Sidearm. I mean, he's got an arsenal of weapons. I mean, there's no doubting that. I mean, obviously, I think Lamar Jackson will keep the offense the Baltimore offense in the game, but I think Patrick Mahomes is just gonna come out slinging and score 14 right away, maybe more, before Jackson gets into a rhythm. So I think it'll be a fun, high scoring game. So, and then next. We got Denver and Green Bay. I'll probably end up uploading another, solo Green Bay talking about that. But I got to go with Green Bay here. The way Denver played against the Bears, I mean, they played sloppy. Joe Flacco threw, I think it was 2 picks. 2
picks and a touchdown.
2 picks and a touchdown. And then obviously they had that. Well, it was obviously, low scoring, but I don't know if I think the Denver defense is honestly a little overhyped. I don't see them as a top 5. I don't know if I can, maybe a top 10, maybe, but I mean, Mitch Trubisky isn't that good, and you let him go down the field, get into field goal range. And then the Bears kicker, saves them. But I mean, they lost. I against the Oakland, which isn't that good. They lost against the Bears, which, I mean, you could argue the Bears is a top 5, in my opinion, probably a top 3 defense. But I don't think they're going to be able to do anything against the Packers. But I mean, unless the offense comes out again, puts up 14, and then never scores again. I mean, obviously Denver might have a chance, but I feel like Packers offense are going to learn a lot from last week and be able to put up more points in the second half of the game. So,
yeah, a little bit shaky about choosing Green Bay, but I mean, their offense has got to stay more consistent. I mean, they put up 21 and they didn't score the rest of the other half.
Well, part of that is just running with Aaron Jones and going 3 and out, which was stupid.
And Aaron Jones had a pretty good game.
He had a pretty
over
good game.
100.
Yeah, he had a couple good breakout runs, but I hated that was my big criticism. Like, obviously, I don't care that you feed the ball to Aaron Jones, but when you constantly go 3 and out and give the Vikings so many opportunities to score, I mean, what's the point of constantly running, just trying to get the clock down when the Vikings literally came back because Packers kept running it. So, I mean, if they do that again, I can see Denver winning. Because obviously Joe Flacco is way more experienced than not Mitch Trubisky, Kirk Cousins. So I can see Joe Flacco just picking apart. Obviously, okay, the defense is again probably a top 5, maybe top 3. So I mean that defense was really good, and they allowed the Vikings offense to hold 16. So I mean that was good. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens, and I hope they score more than, or I hope they score in the second half and don't just come out slinging first quarter and then all of a sudden they just don't put up any points at all and hope the defense can carry them. So I just hope that doesn't happen. So I could go on and rant so much about that, but let's just move on. Let's go over to Carolina and Arizona. And we're both have Arizona here, so why don't you start us off for this one here?
Yeah, I chose Arizona because, I mean, Kyler Murray was pretty dang close to
both.
I mean, to Baltimore.
Yeah, well, I mean, in both games, I mean, they almost they tied the Lions. But
yeah,
he had a pretty good.
I bet you if he had another drive, they would have won.
Yeah, if he would have had a drive, they would have done it, and they would have got, and they would have won that. But I mean, their defense.
But like seeing, Kyler Murray, I mean, I thought he was overhyped, getting first picked.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
me too.
He definitely can prove he can throw the ball.
Yeah, he's just got to learn not to go 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
And him and Larry Fitzgerald are dangerous, so I see them beating Carolina. I mean, Newton's hurt. He's not healthy. I don't see Carolina winning, and that's why I chose Arizona.
Yeah. And you can't rely just on Christian McCaffrey. You can't. I mean, look at what the Bucs defense did to him. I mean, they stopped him all game. I mean, the Bucs.
Yep.
I don't even see them as a top 15 defense, and they stopped the running game of Carolina. And, Christian McCaffrey's supposed to be this amazing running back and whatever, and he gets stopped by the Bucs. So, I mean, I think if the Bucs defense can stop the run game, Arizona's defense can too. And then obviously you have Patrick Peterson out there for cornerback, for throwing. So I think, the defense will be able to hold Carolina. So it'll be a fun game to watch. Kyler Murray slinging it around out there. Him and Larry Fitzgerald connecting for amazing catches. You got anything else to say about that? About that game?
No, but I expect Kyler Murray to, I guess, step up more in the pocket instead of throwing back 10 yards from the scrimmage.
Yeah, hopefully he does that. All right, speaking of the Bucs, let's move on to the Giants and Bucs game. And we both have the Giants. And I'm gonna set out for this one if you don't care. But I'm gonna I'm gonna pick the Giants because they're gonna bench Eli Manning. Finally, they're gonna put Daniel Jones in, let him go out, let him get used to the first half. He can get used to what a normal game is like, regular preseason or not preseason, what a regular game is like versus a preseason game. And I think he can pull out the win against the Bucks. I mean, you got Saquon as your running back. There you go.
Yep.
There's not really that many good wide receivers, I guess.
You got Evan Ingram at tight end.
You got Evan Ingram at tight end, and the defense is okay. I mean, well, how I don't remember how good did they do last week? Because I believe they lost, but didn't they lose by? Well, they didn't lose by that much, did they?
I don't even know who they played.
I don't either.
Wasn't it the Cowboys?
I thought that was week 1. Because the Cowboys played Redskins week 2. Are you looking it up?
Yeah.
All right, well, you do that. But I think Daniel Jones will he'll be way better, and I think he can finally bring the Giants a win after so long. Because last week they went what not one.
They played against Buffalo.
They played against okay, yeah. I think they only lost by what 10.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
It was pretty close. I think Daniel Jones can secure the win for that. And obviously, Jameis Winston is a turnover machine, so you can go now.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Jones' first game, give him some time. I mean, they should have did it week 1.
Yeah, he should have.
To be honest.
Yep.
But I don't know. I kind of expect him, first half to be slow, and then I think he'll get things going in the second half.
That's exactly how I see it too. Give him time to warm up, get used to his surroundings.
Might throw a pick.
But then he's gonna, come back, throw 2 touchdowns in the second half.
Maybe rush a little bit.
Oh, he can definitely rush better than Eli. The only thing he can't do is, escape the pocket or, escape the pressure.
Yeah. And he's got to get the ball off faster. Because there was something on ESPN that in preseason, I think it took him almost 4 seconds to get the ball off. I mean, he's going to have to do that in like double time or half that
half the time,
against...
Against the Bucks, against, the rest of this year. I mean, you verse the Cowboys twice a year. So, I mean, if you can get something going later on, I think, obviously Redskins aren't going to win the division. Who's the 4th team? Dallas, Washington, the Giants.
Philly.
Is it Philly? Oh, yeah. Okay. Never mind. Then the Giants don't have a chance. It's going to be probably Philly and Dallas for a top spot. But yeah, if hopefully they'll be able to get better. Hopefully they'll win more than, was it 3 games last year?
6.
6 games. That's not terrible. They went 6-10. That's not terrible.
No.
I mean, that's bad, but not terrible. But let's go hop into this next game because I think this next game will definitely be interesting. Seattle and New Orleans. We both have Seattle here, and I think, without Drew Brees, I don't know how well they can do. And Teddy Bridgewater showed that. Obviously, ring rust and whatnot. I mean, he played terrible against the Rams, but I don't see him playing any better this week than he did against the Rams last week. So I think, Seattle is not the best. Obviously, when they almost lose to two bad teams, you know. But I think Seattle will be able to pull out the win here against New Orleans, because Teddy Bridgewater, he's not Drew Brees at all. So yeah,
No, and he hasn't played a lot since his injury in Minnesota, so
yeah.
he's probably rusty. I mean, kind of have to expect that, but he's going to have to play with more fire this game because, I mean, Drew Brees, your star quarterback, is out for 6 weeks. I mean, you got to give him something to come into and maybe make the playoffs if that's possible for them.
Yeah, because they're already are they 2-0? No, they're 1-1.
1-1.
So if Teddy can't win him a game, that's what, 6 more games. So that's 1-7. I mean, then your playoff hopes are basically shot unless the rest of your division sucks. Which you got the Bucks, you got Carolina,
and you got Atlanta.
And Atlanta.
Atlanta's to worry about.
Atlanta's probably the only thing to worry about. And obviously, I mean, you could have a whole lot of NFC not make it, and the New Orleans could sneak in at the 6th spot. So for a wild card game. So I mean, there's always that. I mean, you never know how the rest of the year is gonna go. But I mean, what that would be. So if they lose 7, the most they can win is 9. Right?
9.
So 9-7. If they win every game when Drew Brees comes back, and if Teddy Bridgewater loses every game, so I mean,
I think he'll win a couple at least.
He might. So I mean, he could probably keep their playoff hopes alive, and obviously, you really only have to worry about Atlanta and your division. So I mean, they could be Atlanta and New Orleans taking 2 spots in the playoffs. I mean, you never know with how the rest of the. Well, okay, I think it could either be Atlanta and New Orleans or Philly and Dallas. I mean, like one. So I think it could be one of those two, or I think it could be Packers and. I don't know. Do I want to say the Vikings are better than the Bears? I mean,
it's too early. I think
it is a little too early. I mean, you could have Packers and Vikings, Packers and Bears. You could have Bears and
Packers and
Vikings. Lions. Hey, they are second in the NFC right now. NFC North right now. I mean, you got to give them that.
The Lions could. I mean, they've been to the playoffs. I mean, it wasn't too long ago.
That was it? It was 3 years ago too, because they lost the Seattle opening wild card.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that wasn't a bad game, or a bad year for them. So I mean, they could sneak in too. But I think, it could be NFC North. Is it NFC East is Dallas in them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
West is NFC, Seattle.
Yeah, I think it could be NFC North could take 2 spots, or NFC South or NFC East they could all take 2 spots. In the playoffs. So that's that. I mean, it's gonna be a tough race this year for playoff spots. I think the AFC is probably going to be a little more competitive than the NFC. That's, you know what? That could be a whole nother video too for that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I want to do that playoff video soon. Hopefully, we'll be able to do that soon. But that it could be like NFC versus AFC for like playoffs. Like who's going to be what has the tougher division on which team or which division could have more teams go in. So that could be another one. Where do we end off? Was it Seattle and New Orleans, right?
Yeah, now we're on Texans and Chargers.
Dallas and Miami.
Oh yeah, that one.
Don't don't forget that. Obviously blowout here. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say 56-0. I think. I think Miami's gonna lose. I think they're gonna get shut out again. So that's all I have
I
to
think
say.
Miami might get a touchdown if they're lucky.
They're gonna put their second string in for the second half of the game. Dallas is gonna do that, and then Miami's gonna get 40 points.
I think Dallas might win like 45-7.
Yeah, they're gonna crush them.
Demolish them.
I mean, Dolphins are 102-10 already, so I mean, they could go, another 2 games and be like 210 to like 15 or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. I got nothing else to say there. You want to just move on to the next game?
Yeah.
All right. Houston and the Chargers. Again, this is another game we disagree in. I have the Chargers winning this, and why don't you go ahead and say why you have Houston winning?
Well, I mean, just watching Phil Rivers play last week against the Lions, I mean, he sucked. I mean, I didn't think Detroit's defense was that good, but I mean, they did like nothing.
All right. I don't know. Yeah, maybe he had a bad game. Maybe the Lions defense was just that good, but I think the Chargers can bounce back. And I think Houston.
Houston's good.
Yeah, but they almost lost to a backup for the Jags, and then they lost to New Orleans. So, I mean,
New Orleans had Drew Brees.
Yeah, that was before when they had Drew Brees. But I don't know. I feel like Rivers can just pull out a win. Isn't Antonio Gates still playing? Is he gone?
I think he's retired.
Who's that other tight end?
Henry or something like that.
So I don't know. And then Melvin Gordon is still on the team, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't
even think he had a good game against the Lions, but
probably not. I mean, then maybe the Lions defense is that good. And for all we know, maybe they could win the division. So I don't know, but I think it'll be kind of a closer game, but it won't be as exciting as Baltimore and Kansas City.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right, so we had some technical difficulties. So last 3 games, we basically have all the same picks: San Francisco, Cleveland, Washington. I would love to just watch Cleveland get in the groove, put the pedal to the metal, and say, "Hey, we're a playoff contender." And how you do that is you beat a team like the Rams. So I think that'll be a fun game to watch. We obviously both have an upset for that. San Francisco is going to just probably destroy Pittsburgh. And Washington is probably going to come out with a very close win against the Bears. That's my quick recap. I can't believe I didn't record. Why don't you go ahead and go through those 3 games?
All right, so starting with 49ers and Steelers, I mean, pick 49ers because, I mean, Steelers, yeah, they have Mason Rudolph. He played well last week, but still think that Jimmy Garoppolo, I mean, probably get into a groove, and I think he'll come out with like, maybe a 20-point win on the Steelers. Next game was Rams and Browns. Chose Cleveland because, I think this is the game that Baker needs to prove himself. He's got targets, Jarvis and Odell. Game to prove that they can compete with big name teams, and if they want a playoff shot. And Next game is Redskins and Bears. Picked Redskins because I mean, looking at their week 1 win, they almost beat the Eagles. I think they lost by 5, and
Yeah, they
I think
lost
they can get a
because
win against the Bears.
yeah, because of Deshaun Jackson and Carson Wentz connecting last minute. So that's why they lost week 1.
Yeah, that's all my.
All right. Well, we had whole in depths for these last 3, and I realized I didn't end up recording that part, so it's just a quick recap of that because this is already long enough video as it is. So now I got to go back in, edit the video down even more. So overall, not too many, game of the week picks here. Not too many games where there could be an upset. I mean, we obviously probably think that the Rams are going to win, but we just went with Cleveland just because we think, this is their time to shine. So that's obviously that. If the Rams win, I'm not going to be surprised. But I think that's their time to shine here for Cleveland. But there's not just really that many other games that's this team is gonna upset this team. It's all probably gonna be who we're picking. You have any last thoughts?
Should be a pretty interesting week, I think.
Yeah, for a lot of teams. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get on out of here. Thanks for watching, and like, subscribe, and we will see you later.